Hello, welcome to Cleaning the Litter Box with Dr. Fluffy. And today we're going to revisit this weird girl that has a complete strange notion of gender and what gender is. And the first video I was like, okay, this is stupid. This girl is kind of brainwashed by these gender studies. But this video really ticked me off. Let's take a look.
Transphobic people seem to have this idea that if you're not being intentionally transphobic, it doesn't count. But many don't seem to consider that cisnormativity is what creates transphobia and makes it dangerous for us to exist.
So already we are starting off with a straw man. You cannot just call people transphobic just because people do not agree with you. There's something different. First of all, there's something different between trans people and non-binary people, because non-binary people are not trans people. Non-binary people are just delusional idiots that do not conform with reality, while trans people are people that suffer from a condition called gender dysphoria, and therefore their brains do not match their biological sex, and that's why they transition. Repeat with me, transition from one gender to the other in a binary scale, because that's all you have. It's a binary scale. Everything else is just fairy tales made up by kids. Okay? Can we agree on this? Please? It's not that hard. It's not that hard. And cisnormativity. What the hell is cisnormativity? Cisnormativity is an expression that you all created to insult people. Cisgender, another expression that you people kind of made up, just relates to normal people. 99 point almost 9% of the population. I think it actually is more than 99.9% of the population. If I'm not mistaken, is 99.97% of the population. That's basically everyone. Do you understand that? Do you understand that what you're saying is normal human beings, normal Homo sapiens? There's no such thing as cis. It's normal. And by the way, I see no death camps. I don't see where is the danger for your existence. Your existence is the same existence as everybody else. Just because you have a delusion doesn't make you special. Period.
Internalized transphobia and cisnormativity are just as much problems as deliberate hate, and if you're not willing to take ownership of that as an ally, then you're not really helping. See, cisnormativity...
I am not an ally, and just making people believe delusions, that is actually not helping. It's not helping true transsexual people that are not getting the help that they deserve and getting a bad rap because of you people. That's actually not helping. Because people look at real trans people in a bad light, mostly because of you idiots and your attempts to destroy science and reality.
Cisnormativity is exactly what it sounds like, the normalization of the cis experience. Basically, assuming that everyone around you is cisgendered and everyone outside of that norm is the other.
Do you do math? Do you know, for example, in the USA, that is probably one of the countries in the world that has more trans people? Estimation of 0.3% of the population is trans. And that's probably including already people like yourself that are not trans. You're not trans, you're just a girl with a strange fashion sense. These non-binary things do not exist. They are not real. We are a binary species. Homo sapiens is a binary species, like all the primates are binary species, like most mammals are binary species. End of the conversation. So, you don't change what is normal because of 0.3% of the population that has a genetic error, like for example, gender dysphoria people that have a genetic problem that causes their brains to not match the biological sex, or people like yourself that deny reality to live in a fantasy world and think fashion equals genders. No, we don't change things.
The othering and ostracization of trans people is the reason that the reactions to our existence are so violent and hateful. Assumptions about genitals constitute cisnormativity. Assumptions such as that women have breasts and vaginas and men have penises.
I see no evidence for your claim, and probably some of that more aggressive, not violent, but more aggressive reactions that trans people receive. Maybe it's because of idiots like you that are saying bullshit that does not match reality and are actually causing more people for real trans people than actually good. And then actually, it's not assumptions, it's biology. Women have breasts and vaginas, men have penis. XX chromosomes makes vaginas and breasts, XY chromosomes makes dicks. Chromosomes dictate your sex and therefore your gender. Do you understand that? Do you?
And this might be the only time I'm going to say this phrase, but not all men.
I'll say so. You're a misandrist, apparently, because when she says, "Oh, I don't believe I'm going to say this," not all men. It's like you hate men. Doesn't it feel like she hates men? Maybe the reason why she's bashing biological sex and gender is because she hates men. I got the feeling from this phrase that she does, but hey, I'm open to changing my mind because I'm not going to judge her without knowing the context. But the context as she's presenting here in her own video doesn't look really good, does it?
You have no way of knowing the gender of the person you just met, whether they fit inside the gender binary or not.
Yes, I have. If she looks like she has breasts and a vagina, it's a woman. If it has a dick, it's a man. If by any way the person thinks it is more complicated, let's do a chromosome test. And if it is XX, it's a woman. If it is XY, it's a man. If it transitioned, it should also look like the thing that it transitioned to. So, for example, a man that used to be a man and then became a woman, it should have breasts, shouldn't already have a dick. Woman. If it is a woman that decided to become a man, the breasts already cut off, probably some hormonal therapy to have beard, and probably has a fake dick. Man, it's not that hard, is it? And there's no such thing as non-binary. No such thing.
A stranger's genitals are no more your issue whether they're trans or cis. If you wouldn't ask that of someone you just met who you know is cisgendered, don't fucking ask it of a trans person. That's just basic decency and it's really none of your business.
I agree, I shouldn't need to know what genitals you have. I look at you, I'm immediately able to recognize what is a female and what is a male and call them by their name. If you, on the other hand, start demanding of me that I called you something else, yeah, I'll probably ask you. Because, again, there's only two genders. If you are asking me to call you by a third gender, I will confront you for it. I'll ask you for proof, biological proof of that third gender. And if you cannot provide me, I'll keep calling you by one of the two real genders. Okay? See? No problem. I don't need to ask you your genitals, and you won't ask me to call you stupid things. Okay? Deal.
See, one of the biggest obstacles in a trans person's journey to self-acceptance is feeling normal. Because guess what? Trans people are normal!
Now, I'm going to try to word this as best as I can. No, they are not. Not even real trans people are normal. No, normal means being part of a normal distribution. Something that is 0.3% or less of the human population cannot be called normal. It's not normal. We know it's a genetic defect. That doesn't mean people should be mistreated by it. It means people need treatment. If treatment is transitional therapy, everything should be fine. And people should do the transitional therapy and be treated as the gender they transition to. But that doesn't mean it's normal. It's not. And you people, the non-binary people, you morphologically are normal. You're just stupid. You're just retards. And retards not in a sick way, just in a very stupid way. Like you want to be special, but you're not special. So you are normal, but you're dumb.
Whenever you equate gender with genitals, that's cisnormative. Even statements such as talking about women having periods are completely cisnormative because guess what? Men have periods too, so do non-binary people.
No, we're not. We're viviviparian mammals. That means that the embryo is incubated inside the female. And what you call the period is the blood, menstruation, after a cycle has been done to ovulate, and then the blood that was going to be you can call it the nest for the embryo, goes away through the vagina. A man cannot do that because a man does not incubate a baby. And the man does not have a vagina. Isn't that simple to understand? No, we don't have periods, and there's no such thing again as non-binary people. I need to really stress that part. Non-binary people do not exist because Homo sapien is a binary species.
Plenty of people have periods. How do you overcome this? Instead of talking about women when you're talking about menstruation, just say people who menstruate, or people with a uterus who can menstruate, because even some people with a uterus aren't reproductive in that way. In the same way, if you're talking about childbirth, you can say people who can give birth, or people who can carry a child, instead of saying women, because again, that's not true. A lot of women don't have a uterus, and a lot of women who even do have a uterus can't carry a child.
I point to you to my previous comment that still applies to this comment, but I'll add like some women that can't have children because they have health problems. So the health problem causes them not to be able to have children. Again, only women can have children, only women can have periods. That's a fact.
Cisnormativity is prevalent in the whole world in general. It even permeates medical discourse. When people are talking about males as having one set of secondary sex characteristics, genitals, and hormones, they're being cisnormative, because not all males have those sorts of characteristics in the same way not all females have those characteristics.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Like 0.03% of people in terms of intersex have some variation because of errors. Nothing else.
TERFs, or trans-exclusionary feminists, also have the issue of equating feminism with genitals. You'll see vaginas on things which are meant to be for female empowerment, and they'll talk about normalizing all these things which only apply to cis females. Feminism isn't only for cis people, feminism is for trans women as well. They take up just as much a place in feminism and need it just as much. Quite frankly, if your feminism doesn't have room for trans women, then I don't want to hear about it, and I think you should really reevaluate what you're doing, because what you're advocating for is not equality.
Feminism is not about equality since the 21st century. It's about men hating. We all know that.
I understand this idea is confronting to a lot of people because you've probably grown up your whole life getting away with being cisnormative, because everyone you've met and really talked to is cis, or at least you assumed they were. And before I get comments about it, because this is apparently the term everyone's debating recently, this isn't a case of political correctness, which is a bullshit concept anyway. This is just about being a decent fucking human being that isn't oppressive to trans people and actually advocates for equality.
Well, I guess for being a decent human being, you first need to be a human being. And humans, and the Homo sapien species, are binary. So there's no such thing as a non-binary. So if you say that you're non-binary, then you're not human. Right?
And if you value that, then I believe you should really be listening to what I'm having to say here and look at some other resources on cisnormativity and trans-inclusive feminism.
And I would advise any of your followers and yourself to actually read a biology book, to actually learn about Homo sapiens and the reality about our species. For example, that we are a binary dimorphic species. If you listen, there's always di and bi. Bi, di. So 2 genders, 2 species, 2 differences. That's just it. So, please give me some feedback. So, if you like this video, give a like, comment in the section below, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Stay fluffy!